Like I said, very good, thorough breakdown. Before we close off today, I do want to ask you the big news in the boxing world. Have to ask you before we sign off. We did have the formation of the TKO boxing promotion, TKO. Dana White, Turki Alalshikh joining up. Huge news. I know we need a lot more information and more to come still, but just want to hear your early thoughts. What do you think about it?
Listen, this is like touching a hot potato, bud. This is a hot potato for some people out there because a lot of people, oh yeah, right away. But I'm gonna give you my opinion. What the freak? But right away, you're gonna get some people who say, oh yeah, of course you're saying that because you've been to Saudi Arabia 7 times in the last year and a half. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I don't hide nothing. With Turki Alalshikh, you like Dana White? Yeah, I do. But I also like telling the truth. And listen, it could be hard sometimes to tell the truth. I'm human. I know it. I don't try to be, I don't try to be perfect. No, I do try to be as close to perfect as I can, but I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to be a person that can't be weak at moments and do what's convenient. I don't claim not to be. I try not to be that person. But I am very aware that sometimes it can be hard not to be a little bit influenced by relationships and things like. I'm the first to admit it, so you can't even attack me on it. I'll be the first to admit, but I do take pride in telling the truth, in controlling those temptations, in controlling those feelings that are there for all of us. The best I can control them and give the truth. Say what I believe professionally from my 50 years in the business, not based on biases, not based on agendas. And I've done a pretty good job of that throughout my career. Again, I'm not perfect. And every day I try to be better. I'll say it this way. I think that the template that has been there for UFC, again, you can always look at negative. Oh, they don't all get paid this, they don't this, whatever you want to say. I'm just saying, I think the template that was put in place by Dana White and the Fajita brothers who owned the casinos, who originally bought UFC.
Fajita. I think you're hungry for some Mexican food with the fajitas.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right, bud. I'm sorry. And I love burritos. I love tacos, and I love fajitas. But yes, I'm sorry. And they're good guys. Matter of fact, I remember when they first started UFC, they actually came to me to ask my thoughts about how to make the sport more exciting. Can you believe that? Because you had the Gracies dominating, you had a lot of guys, playing the floor chess on the floor, and not everyone wants to see 15 minutes, 25 minutes of guys on the floor. They want to see striking. And I was doing all the boxing with, Friday night fights. I was out there in their casinos a lot, and they would see me, and they would ask my advice on that. Matter of fact, I told them something they didn't do. I told them, get a shot clock. Get like they have in college basketball or NBA, where there's a 30-second shot, whatever. A shot clock where you can't stay on the floor more than X amount of time. You got to get up and you got to take a shot. You got to strike. So they didn't do it, but it did gravitate. It did move more towards the striking and the standing on its own. It moved that way. Here's my take. That template for the sport worked for Dana White. It made that brand into $1 billion brand. You could knock the crap out of him if you want. You're jealous, you're mad, you're angry, you hate him, you hate that he's bald. My son is bald. I love my son. I don't care what you are. You go, I don't. I love you. But at the end of the day, or you could say, oh, you don't pay us all of them right and all that. Whatever. His acumen, his business judgment to build that brand was simple but genius. Put the best in with the best, and you will build a brand. Build it Build it, and they will come. Ben, get ready. Field of Dreams, Ben. Build it, and they will come. He built it, and they came, and they kept coming, and they keep coming by putting on good fights, competitive fights all the time. Not just names, not just stars, competitive fights. I mean, Top Rank is about to no longer be around with ESPN. ESPN is not renewing after a 7-year run, is not renewing the contract with Top Rank in August. August is July. Why? Why? One of the reasons why, and that don't mean I'm 100% right, but they didn't always put the best in with the best. They had their stars. They put A against B, and you had a lot of weeks on ESPN where they were not competitive fights. You might have had a star from the Olympics fighting, but he was fighting a guy that he was going to obliterate, in 22 seconds before the national anthem ended. So that was not something to build a brand with. That's not something that the fans, they're not stupid. They're not going to come back to the turnstiles every week to see non-competitive fight. Yeah, they get a bone thrown everyone. Guess what? Fans aren't dogs. They don't want bones. They want to go to Peter Luger's, bud, like we all did the other night. We were blessed. We went to Peter Luger's, and we got more than a bone. We got sirloin. We got porterhouse. We were lucky. We were fortunate. We're blessed, and we're grateful. Their fans also want to be able to chew on something. And if you're just building your guys up and giving them cannon fodder and just building their record to 10-0, 15-0, 20-0 before you finally put them in a fight, fans ain't going to go for it after a while. Maybe that's part of the reason why Top Rank's going away. And wherever they're going to end up, who knows? Look, now you got Turki Alalshikh, hate him or love him. He has given boxing a shot of adrenaline. Hate him or love him. I don't say what you want. Oh, yeah, Teddy, you're defending because you've been in Saudi Arabia. Listen, I am defending what I see. I am stating what I see. For the last year and a half, since Turki Alalshikh came along, he gave the sport fights that they needed and the fans fights they wanted. And they weren't getting them before. He unified the heavyweight title for the first time. It was unified with one champion in 25 years when he had Usyk against Fury for all the belts. And he's done that in a couple spots already. He's giving you the fights. He gave you Bevo and Better Beef to unify the light heavyweight title. And then he gave you the rematch because the first one was so good. So, again, hate him or love him, he has become the face of boxing. He has changed boxing. Boxing was moving toward, and I love the sport. It's fed my family. I've done nothing else for 50 years. I love boxing. I defend the fighters. I defend this. I got fired from ESPN being a boxing guy because I was defending the fighters and talking about the bad judging. And talking about the bad officiating that sometimes can destroy the sport. That's why I'm not there no more. So I got a right to say it, hate me or love me. I'm saying what I've said before, that this sport was moving towards a cult type sport. It was moving towards what's the word I'm looking for, Bud? A limited version of itself, to where it was being, it wasn't getting the respect that a sport that's been around longer than any other sport, other than maybe the marathon. It's been around longer than any other sport. It was being trivialized. It was being shrunk. It was being minimized. It was getting smaller. And the audience was getting smaller. Something had to be done. And the formula that Turki Alalshikh used, yeah, he had the Saudi money, yes. But he also had the passion, the love for the sport to use that money. How many people you know in business and in the sports business, Bud, that have the money, but that doesn't mean they're going to use it. He used the money to build the sport in a way that he wanted to build the sport. And he used a formula. You know what formula he used before he even knew he was using it? Or maybe he did know he was using it. He was using Dana White's formula to put the best fights on. It's that simple. So here it is. I'll encapsulate the whole thing. When you ask me what do I think, I think that the idea, I think something needed to be done to make the sport healthy again, or healthier. Healthier. I'm not going to use the word that the sport was broken or was, I'm just saying that it was starting to move and had been moving in the wrong direction of importance. Something had to be injected into it to move the needle the other way. And now, Turki Alalshikh is teaming up with TKO, with Dana White, and they're going to use the phone. Why is he teaming up with Dana White? Because he saw what Dana White built with the UFC. He saw the results of what that brand became. And he saw how he did it. And he figured, why not team up with a guy who's done it already? If you're going to go out there and shop for a certain kind of house, and you want to build a certain kind of building, what do you look for? You look for the contractor, the builder, the architect that built something that you already know you'd like to have, that you saw a picture of it. You looked at a picture of beautiful houses, and you looked at it, wow, that's the house I want. I want to live in that house. And what do? I got to find out who built this house. And that's what he did. He saw a house he liked, and he went and knocked on the door of the builder, Dana White, and said, can you build me a house like that one? And can we be partners in it? And that's it. So I look at that again as that the sport, I'm not saying it was broken. There's still a position for other, I always like options. There's still a position for other promoters, terrific promoters out there, terrific. Whether it's Hearns or whether Hearn is talking about that he's maybe going to retire from the sport now. Maybe, it's coincidental that it's happening at this time. Maybe it's not, whatever. But whatever, he's been tremendous. Frank Warren's been tremendous. All of these guys. I mean, Aram's had an unbelievable career too. But at the end of the day, they're still going to have their spot. They're still going to have their, there's no doubt. There's a new sheriff in town. There's no doubt that could be scary. There's no doubt that, that's going to eat up a lot of their real estate, if you will. Yeah, but they still will have the ability to do their thing in different places. You still have the option to go over. But I think that this is a big venture. I think at the end of the day, it'll be good. How long will it last? I can't tell that. I hope it lasts and it goes on and on and on and on because I love this sport and I love the fans and I love the fighters. So I hope that it goes to the best possible place it can go, to where it has longevity and it makes the fans happy and the sport healthy and takes care of the fighters. That's it. That's my opinion on it, guys. I mean, again, throw the darts all you want. I know my beautiful fans, the greatest fans in the world. They're all great, the Mexicans, the Irish, but the greatest, the English. I know right now you're having your Guinness, you're in there, your wrists are good and snappy. Whop, whop, whop. Because you got darts, you got snooker, you got golf. But you really do back your fighters. Oh, my God. Marcus of Queensberry, baby. You back your fighters. I know you're out there right now, and I know that you don't have the dartboard of Teddy Atlas up on the pub. You don't. You don't. You're not throwing that, because I know you did have a dartboard like that. You remember that, Bud? Years ago I made a joke. I said our fans across the pond, I'm messing with you a little bit. We love each other, and I'm messing with you a little bit. So you're probably throwing darts, right now at a dartboard. 3 weeks later I get a package. What is this? I open the package. It's a dartboard with my picture on it.
I remember that.
But it was signed
in Australia too. I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, it might be. Yeah. But it wasn't as beautiful as the one from England, because the one from England was signed by all their great fighters, by a whole list of their champions. Even Dave Conti, the light heavyweight. I think James Watts was on it. I can't remember the rest, but it was signed by a bunch of their champions. And I got that dartboard, and it doesn't have a single dart in it, because it's got my picture on it. There will never be a dart. A dart will never penetrate that dartboard. Anyway, to the fans out there, we appreciate you, as always.
Yeah, I think time will tell, like you're saying, right? There's a lot of people who are skeptical. Al Heyman tried this, right? The PBC model. The one thing we didn't get, the best didn't fight the best. Just because he had all the guys signed up and he had some money behind him backing him, the formula wasn't quite right. And whether he was protecting guys or guys were inactive, for whatever reasons, we didn't see all the PBC guys fight each other. Something tells us we're going to be seeing them fight each other. We'll see how long it takes. I love the thought
That's the only way it works. That's the only way Dana White's formula. Why Turkey went with him.
Yeah.
If you take something away from the recipe, it ain't that recipe anymore. It's like having a great recipe. Mom's a great cook, right?
The best.
Right. She's the best. And she makes her own cheesecake. Oh. My father loved cheesecake. And you take one ingredient away from it, it ain't the best no more. And like you said, PPC Al Heyman, he did a lot of good for fighters. He paid them, he overpaid them in some cases. But yeah, he paid them a lot of money. A lot of them became very wealthy with Al Heyman. Tremendous with the PPC. But he wasn't consistent with the formula that we're talking about right now. It's hard. If they could be consistent with that, then the recipe would be, you have a good cheesecake, okay?
Well, there'll be more layers to this, I think, and that's what it sounds like, and that's why we'll wait for more information. We're not just talking about the best find the best. We're talking about maybe one champion, maybe less weight classes, things that you've been talking about for a long time that you like to see in this sport, right? And eliminate some of the confusions to the fans out there. Wait, who's the champion in this division? Well, no, there will be no confusion. So I look forward to seeing that. I'm still skeptical in regards to how do we get better judges? How do we get better officials?
So
the administrators of the sport.
So true. They got to
right?
do that.
We
That's
need a
got to be
national
part of
commission.
it. That's got to be part of it. The same way you should put, and I'm going to get, here it is. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, bud. The same way as you got to put the best in with the best for the fights, you got to put the best judges in, too. Otherwise, you're going to screw it up. Otherwise, you're going to screw it up. You're going to let it. You're going to have this beautiful, beautiful souffle, and you're going to let freaking a fly get in it, and it's going to screw
Patty
it up.
Donovan. We saw it with Tank Davis last week. 100%. It has to be addressed. You've said
and
it
you
for
gotta
years.
work at
Judge
that.
the judges. Rank
Yeah,
them.
you gotta get rid of some of them. Quite frankly, give some of them pink slips. Soon as Dana and Turkey take over, I'd like to see pink slips handed out on Monday. Hey, fellas, we won't be needing you, in this business. Maybe you could go judge the Miss America pageant, whatever, whatever. But you ain't gonna be judging. You're not gonna be judging boxing anymore. They gotta address that. And one other part I'll touch on. I don't know how it's gonna work. And again, because everyone is saying, "Oh yeah, right away," you're saying how great. No, I'm trying to be down the middle on both sides of it, the pros and the cons. One of the cons is I don't know how this team concept is going to work. I don't know that I could get my head completely around, because that was part of what they're talking about. It hasn't all been brought out yet. We haven't seen the blueprints shown to us. I was talking about building a building. Well, you have to have a blueprint. And they have the blueprint. We haven't seen all of it yet. So when you talk about the team concept, I don't know if I could get my head around how that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm with
but that's it. I said my piece.
Well, we'll wait for the architectural plans to be revealed.